Ever wondered what happens to serial killers after their headlines fade? They were the faces of terror. They made headlines once, but what happened to them after they were caught? Where are they now? You might be shocked to learn that some of them are still alive. In prison. Yes, rotting but very much alive. In this video, we will discuss some of the notorious serial killers that are still alive and behind the bars. We will see what they are doing and how they are spending the rest of their days in prison. From Ed Kemper to Charles Cullen, these infamous figures are still alive, and their stories are far from over. So stay tuned, as it is going to be a lot more interesting than what you might expect. First in our list is Ed Kemper, infamously known as the Co-Ed Killer. One of the most chilling figures in true crime, Kemper used his intellect and charm to conceal his monstrous tendencies. Starting at the early age of 15, Ed Kemper's crime list included his own mother and grandparents. Kemper had been convicted of the murder of 7 women, including a 15-year-old girl. Well, Kemper reportedly has the IQ of 133. Probably that was why he was part of the FBI's programs to understand serial killers back in the 80s. Captured and found guilty at his trial in 1973, Kemper was sentenced to 8 concurrent life terms. Since then, he has been living at the California Medical Facility in Vacaville. Interestingly, despite the gravity of his crimes, Kemper remains among the general population in prison and is considered a model prisoner. He was even in charge of scheduling other inmates' appointments with psychiatrists. Despite him being a model prisoner, he was never allowed parole. Some hearings he missed while his plea was rejected in others. Even in his last hearing took place without him, as he chose to remain in his cell. As for now, his prime days are over, and after a stroke, he is confined to a wheelchair, incontinent, and generally in poor health. Next in our list is Dennis Lynn Rader, the infamous BTK killer, who has been active between 1974 and 1991. As it is said, pride hath a fall. That was exactly what happened to him. BTK used to send taunting letters to police and media outlets, and such one letter became the reason for his arrest in 2005. Rader was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He is currently serving 10 consecutive life sentences at the El Dorado Correctional Facility. Next notorious killer still alive is Randy Kraft. Randy Kraft, also known as the Scorecard Killer, is currently serving a death sentence at San Quentin State Prison, California, after being convicted of 16 murders in the 1980s, though his total number of victims may be as high as 65 or more. Kraft was notorious for his detailed scorecard of victims, mostly young men and Marines. Interestingly, he was caught after a random traffic stop in 1983, where police found him with one of his last victims in his car. Despite his gruesome crimes, Kraft has never admitted to the murders, and his case remains a subject of ongoing investigation. As of now, Kraft remains isolated on death row. In interviews, he has been described as unremarkable in appearance, but exuding a bitter, angry attitude, which contrasts with the media portrayal of serial killers. Next we have Gary Ridgway. Gary Ridgway, infamously known as the Green River Killer, holds the grim title of one of the deadliest convicted serial killers in U.S. history. While he claimed to have killed over 80 victims, he was formally convicted for 48 murders, making his crimes among the most shocking of the 20th century. Interestingly, Ridgway had a brush with law enforcement early in his killing spree. In August 1982, he was arrested as a suspect but managed to evade justice by denying the allegations and even passing a polygraph test. With no solid evidence to tie him to the murders, he was released. Over the years, he came under suspicion multiple times, but it wasn't until 2001 that advancements in forensic technology, particularly DNA testing, provided the breakthrough needed to link him definitively to the crimes. In 2003, Ridgway struck a plea deal, admitting to 48 murders in exchange for avoiding the death penalty. He was sentenced to 48 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. Ridgway's notoriety has made him a target within the prison system. For his safety, he is reportedly held in restrictive housing, likely isolated to protect him from other inmates, particularly those who might seek retribution for his crimes. His days are primarily spent in solitary confinement. At one point, he was transferred to a Colorado prison to be moved out of isolation, with the hope that less recognition might allow him some interaction in the general population. Charles Cullen, notoriously dubbed as Killer Nurse, or _ the Angel of Death. Cullen is one of the most prolific healthcare-related serial killers in modern history. Operating as a nurse across multiple hospitals in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Cullen used his position to murder at least 29 patients, though investigators believe the true number could exceed 300. Arrested in 2003, Cullen confessed to his crimes, citing a misguided desire to end patients' suffering as his motive. Today, he is serving multiple life sentences at New Jersey State Prison. Cullen's mental health and motivations for his crimes have drawn considerable attention. He rationalized his actions as mercy killings, though many of his victims were not terminally ill. Cullen made headlines again in 2006 by donating a kidney. The donation was arranged for a relative of his ex-girlfriend, who faced life-threatening kidney failure. The surgery was permitted under strict court oversight, with the recipient's insurer covering the costs. This act sparked controversy, with some questioning whether it was a genuine gesture of redemption or another attempt at control over life and death. These notorious figures are not out on the streets, but their work left unforgettable marks on society, their names forever etched in the dark chapters of history. As they live out their days behind bars, they serve as a chilling reminder of the depths of human depravity. Whether living in isolation or maintaining a semblance of routine, their prison lives are starkly different from the terror they once inflicted. If you found this video intriguing, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with others. And, of course, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future episodes of Prison Stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.